Looks like these two have had a bit of a fallout. Why are you not sitting together? So I've actually not filmed for a while again. Unfortunately, we did lose Dandy at the end of October. I think what maybe happened was he'd had like a heart attack or something, because he'd sort of just stopped one day. I do think it was probably some sort of genetic issue. I know skinny pigs are probably not from the best line of genetics anyway, so yeah, it is a shame because he was really not that old, unfortunately, and you know, it would have been so nice to have him to live a long life with us, but unfortunately it's not always the way it happens with animals. But I do feel like he's had a good life with us, and he's had an amazing bond with his brother. And yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for all the kind messages I've received regarding this as well. And yeah, it's obviously been really sad to lose him, because him being a young one as well. But you kind of just got to move forward and focus on the other animals, and especially as he was with Beano, you can't just, you know, let it take over. I guess what I put all my focus into now was making sure Beano is happy, because I don't want him to be a lone guinea pig, and I really don't like to, you know, see him lonely since Dandy's passed away. So I'm gonna show you what I've done and share with you those updates and kind of my plans as well, because I certainly do not want to keep him alone. I think that's totally unfair on him. You know, I was around and he was warm and he was comfortable, and he had Beano around him as well, so you know, he didn't suffer and he wasn't in any pain that I was aware of. He'd just sort of, it's as though he'd sort of, you know, his body just shut down really. And you know, like I say, he'd been eating perfectly well, he'd had a great appetite and everything up until, you know, maybe the day before, so it still kind of remains a mystery to me, but I do think he'd had some sort of heart attack or something, judging by what happened. I made the decision to bring Teacake in next to Beano. Beano really did take himself off when Dandy passed away. He sort of took himself to his hay rack. He would never ever sit in that hay rack, but he did that day. He spent the whole day in the hay rack really, and he was teeth chattering. He was quite scared, because I guess he's never really been alone. He's never been away from his brother until that day, and I think I realised that his brother's death really did affect him. He's never been alone before, and he was scared, and he needed a companion just to feel safer. So I'd been keeping an eye on Teacake for a while. I noticed that her weight was fine actually, and overall her health is fine, but she has been losing some hair. She's been really thinning, and she has some other symptoms of a hormonal problem. She'll be in the vets very soon for getting that checked out and getting to the root cause of that really. So I brought her in mainly because her fur was thinning on her back, and I just didn't want her to get too cold, and obviously she is settled in amazingly. She is so happy, she absolutely loves it in here, but she's been getting on really well with Beano, and she's an absolute star, aren't you darling? So it's not so easy to tell, but her hair's really been thinning at the back, but it's not really like a fungal or ringworm type thing. Looking at it, it does seem more hormonal. It's like even on both sides as well. So we're gonna get that checked out. She has a few of the symptoms, like I say, of a hormonal problem, which is why I think that's what it might be, but I guess we'll find out when we can take her to the vets. Oh, she's sweet. So yeah, Beano's been doing absolutely amazing since I brought Teacake in. He's been so happy. He really does like her a lot. He's always trying to find her when she goes off to her house. He's always looking for her, and he always wants to be next to her. So that's really sweet. If you're wondering why his skin looks like this, he's just been sat under the hay and makes it all dusty. It's not actually dry skin. Bless you.
So I'm just, honestly, I'm so happy that he's absolutely fine. He's back to how he was. It was just that, you know, that one day that he did really show signs of, you know, not really being too happy. But as soon as we brought Teacake in, his mind was occupied, and obviously he didn't have to think about being by himself or being scared. So I guess ultimately we could look to either neuter Beano or to spay Teacake, depending on if Teacake's problem is hormonal and, you know, it could need some sort of surgery depending on what's wrong with her. Say if she has, you know, PCOS or something, and in some like more like, you know, bad cases of that, they can need spaying. So that could be an option, but if that's not her issue and she's actually alright, we could look to getting Beano neutered. But for now, they're absolutely fine side by side. I think they're both really happy. I mean, you can just see they do seem really happy. Teacake really doesn't care. He'll like rumble strut at her and she just ignores him, kind of. She doesn't really know what to do. But I think she likes him. You know, she was never really that close with any of the others out there, so I think she's quite happy with him. Quite enjoys his company. I think initially there was a little bit of teeth chattering, quite a lot of rumble strutting, but there's been very little aggression since they've been together. You know, obviously there's that initial kind of shock of another guinea pig, but after they got over that, they've just settled so well next to each other. Like I say, Beano's just always so desperate to get to Teacake. You've got a bit of hay on your head. You've got hay on your head as well, Bigwig. So yeah, we've got some homegrown kale, some parsley and celeriac with the leaves, which they absolutely love. So it's also got a bit of the celeriac kind of root on it, but they didn't grow too well, to be honest, so there's not that much of it. Teacake's eating some of the homegrown celeriac. I mean, they're not massive, but she's liking that. So I'm going to give the rabbits this nettle now. It's been up here drying for a good few months. They did have the other one beforehand and they loved it. They absolutely love the dried nettle.